morning, Syndicate members. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Live from Austin, Texas at 9 a.m. Central Time, like every Wednesday. We're right here for you.
Let's
Me and
go.
my good buddy, Joe Cool, the
Come on.
king of Facebook groups. Dude, what's going on, man?
Man, just living the dream, dude. I'm super hype. I
Uh,
can hear the energy in your voice, man. I think me and Tony guys are super hype for our episode today. But man, I'm doing good. I've had an amazing week. Dude, I swear I'm still riding that wave of momentum from SWAT. I know we've been talking
Come
about
on
it.
now.
But man, it's been amazing, dude. We've just been making strides. Man, and just getting better every freaking day. I can just feel it. So doing real good, man. How you doing?
If I was doing any better, I'd fall down in fits, to be honest with you, man. I'm super pumped. Just having a lot of fun. Been having a lot of fun doing some of my new extracurricular duties that I'm doing with the National Association of Health Underwriters, NAHU. Right, I'm a new member of the Austin chapter. I'm spearheading their golf tournament. So getting that all put together and out there, I'm getting some
Yep.
great response like that. That's just a lot of fun. Some extra fun stuff I get to do in the business, in the industry. To help kind of do my thing to make it a mark and make it
Yep.
a little better place than when I got here. So
Absolutely.
that's all fun. My win for the week, just to jump into that, is definitely this show. Like what we're about to throw down here is a great privilege. That wow, I'm going to remember today for a while because this is pretty cool. I don't get this kind of opportunity to talk to the level of person, individual that we have on the show today. So
Yep.
this is going to be a ride. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for putting this together.
Yeah. No, and I'll tag team there with you, man. Dude, and here's the cool part about Derrick and bringing him on, man. It's like he's extremely humble. He's such a good freaking guy. I actually met him through church and serving youth. Like he comes and serves youth and does main messages and stuff like that. Does small group. And again, for a caliber of person to care still that much about your community and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's gonna be awesome. That's definitely my win. Before, real quick, can you give me a second before we bring him on?
Do your
Just one
thing,
second.
brother. Uh-oh. What do we have going on here? Oh, we have a UT shirt going down. And if I'd have known that, I'd have brought my Earl Campbell UT jersey out. But that's right. Our boy Hales, he was actually graduate. He was born in Waco, played at Waco High School, and then played college football for University of Texas. So all you Longhorn fans out there, let's see the hooks. Let's go. Man, we've got a super guest for you guys. Like Joe knocked it out of the park. He does a really good job booking guests for us, and we've had some phenomenal guests on, but we have something amazing, very special for you guys today. Just to give you a couple things, I mean, our guest, uh, well, he's a four-time Pro Bowler in the NFL. He is the 2020 Missouri Sports Hall of Fame inductee, and he is on the ballot, my understanding, for the 2023 College Hall of Fame. He's also the Kansas City Chiefs leading tackler. I mean, the dude is absolute stud. So I can't wait to get him on here. We are going to bring him up right now. The notorious number 56, Mr. Derrick Johnson. What is going on, my man?
Hey, appreciate it, man. Y'all said a lot of great things about me, man. I don't know.
You make it easy. I mean, we had to that's a Cliff Notes version. We could have
Uh,
gone through accolade after accolade. The hour would have been over.
man, really appreciate it. I never take that for granted. I've been truly blessed, and I'm always humbled to hear different awards I've won in the past, and things that I still cherish those things now. So
Well,
yeah.
one of the things that we make everybody do on this show, Derek, just to kind of give you a heads up, we have a simple format in the beginning, and then the rest is just organic. We're going to get to know you, but we would like to hear just kind of who Derrick Johnson is in your mind, kind of what you're up to these days, and if you could give us your own weekly win, like what's cooking for you this week that's on a good note, and just kind of throw it down for us.
Okay, cool. First, I want to shout out Joe for the Texas jersey. I like that, man.
Come on now.
Orange, man. Uh, no, but a little bit about me, real quick. I'm a come from a single parent home. I'm a baby of four kiddos, and my mom's a school teacher for over 45 years. So I mean, you could just imagine being a kiddo living in a house with with a school teacher. So whatever she did at school, she did at home. So I didn't get any breaks when it comes to that. But it turned out for the best. But always been an energetic kid, super athletic. Mom instilled a lot of great values. in church all the time. So when you talk about foundation of what I am and what I embody, and the body of Christ, being able to be a Christian, being able to have that faith based in every avenue of my life, it really helped out, and that's why I'm here today. I'm married with 6 kiddos, 5 boys, and 1 baby girl. I kind of skipped skipped a lot right there, but that's what I'm consumed with right now. That's why I jumped right into that. I've actually got 2 kiddos downstairs, and they just hanging out. I told them, hey, I'm gonna be on a podcast on video. Don't come in the room. They're like, how that works out. But I tell you what, my win for the week would have to be just getting in my Bible every day in the summertime. Summertime's a very busy for me, and for me to actually dive into my Bible and make time in the morning to do that, because it's you can imagine having a lot of kiddos and all the energetic and all the just this the craziness that goes on in the house, to actually calm my mind and get in a peaceful spirit before I handle my day, really helps me out actually. And one verse I'll put this one verse that's been coming up in my head in Proverbs is talk about it's better to be patient than powerful. So right now I'm working on, with my kids, I'm working on my patience and all this stuff. So it's and that phrase goes in a lot of other areas in life. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell right now.
I love it. I
Man,
love it, man.
that definitely opens up some stuff to get this thing started. So I appreciate you saying that. I'm kind of curious. So currently, right, you wake up in the morning, you get yourself started by getting in your Bible, and like you said, getting into a peaceful spirit.
Yeah.
I love that. That's beautiful. I'm curious, did you have that same mentality when you were knocking dudes' heads off in the NFL? Where you started every day with a peaceful spirit, or was it a little different?
A little bit different, a little bit different. Uh, it's just, man, I playing in NFL is a dream job, and I can just remember being in the moment, which is cool. Being in the moment, having so much gratitude, and being so humbled to be amongst so many great players, and being able to play at a high level, and be blessed to play it for a long time, for 14 years. And in Kansas City I was there for 13 years, and I've been through some ups and downs, and through it all, having my foundation, my faith-based foundation, man, I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. I got some stories. I got, from college and pro level. Been around some great coaches, Coach Mac Brown and Coach Andy Reid. I mean, you name it. I've been around the guys, and I just enjoying this process after football. Actually,
Yeah, yeah. Before we get to that, so I'm curious. And actually, before I have a couple questions for you, but I want to go back to, was it always football, right? Like, we're obviously, I mean, you took it to the next level on the football side of things. What were you doing? Was there anything else? Like, growing up, was it like, man, I'm going football all the way, or was like, hey, you know what? Maybe the NBA's in there too, right, or something like that. Where was there anything else outside of football, kind of even before college and stuff like that?
you know what? For me, no, not at all. Football was just always the focus. I was an athlete, so I ran track throughout, junior high and high school. Played basketball, so I was a 3-letter sport athlete, but football was embedded in me. Just I mean, my older brother, he's 5 or 6 years older, and he played at the University of Baylor, played in the NFL for 5 years with Philadelphia and New York. So that I had a blueprint. I'm not saying it was easy, but I actually had somebody that I was like, that was in the house with me, like, this is how you do it. And he had a great example. His name is Derrick Johnson, and man, you talk about a big brother that really ushered me to really was a trailblazer to help me to, I kind of blew up the trail, but he was that trailblazer that said, hey man, this is how you do it. I mean, stayed out of trouble, didn't do drugs. I mean, he was, that foundation of going to church and believing in Christ, and just doing things the right way. Obviously, we're not perfect, but when you have a foundation of a faith-based foundation, man, anything is possible. And I've done a lot, and I'm very, very appreciative of my family and what I grew up in.
Yep. Why UT?
Okay.
How many
Um,
actually how before you get there, how many other offers had you gotten that you chose UT over?
yeah. Well, you know what? Not to pat myself on the back, but everybody everybody came out. It was cool. It was cool to go through the process. I mean, the A&Ms, the Florida State, the Miami, the Oklahoma, the Arkansas, the Georgia, I mean, everybody wanted me. But it kind of came down, and I hate to say this, it came down to I wasn't gonna go too far away. So I'm, youngest kid in the family, so I was kind of a mama's baby a little bit. So I wasn't gonna go too far, but it did come down to Texas, Oklahoma, and A&M. And yeah, Oklahoma was in the mix for sure. I had a lot of friends that go there too. A lot of guys coming out during my time, Tommy Harris and a bunch of other guys. But Texas was a leaner. Mainly because of Mac Brown. Mac Brown, you talk about a ultimate recruiter. You talking about somebody that your parents fall in love with. That's why he has so much success. I mean, I can still remember my mom after talking with Mac Brown and those guys and leaving. My mom's like, "Hey, we need to commit." They have I guess Mac told her about um, some how they have different scholarships, and we get down to the last. He gave her that whole spiel, and she was like, putting that pressure. I'm like, no, mom. You know what? If they really want me, they'll go through this whole recruiting process, which I enjoyed it. But Texas, I was definitely going to Texas for sure.
I love it. I love it. And then my last question here, and this is I know so we're obviously this is within an insurance group, Derek, just so you know. And but I think it's starting to expand even, outside of that. And that's why I love having, somebody of your caliber on the call, because I think, it doesn't always just have to be insurance specific to hear something to help your insurance business, right? And I think a lot of us are sitting in this seat and we're doing what we're doing on this side of things to sign that multi-million dollar deal, right? And we'll use that, whether that's selling, whatever. What was it like, right? Because and I know you, and I know how hard you work, and I know how diligent you are, and obviously you have to be to play at the level that you did for how long that you did, right? I think that's a big testament. Is, dude, you played for over a decade in the NFL in a time when the NFL was a little bit different, a little bit more rough, right? Where they were letting a few more things slide. What was it like when you signed that first multi-million dollar deal? Was it like, who was there with you, right? Like, was it family with you, man? Like, what? I want to hear that feeling. I want you to describe that.
Yeah, what, that's a great question, Joe. All your life, especially as a little kid, we always hear people say, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? Most kids that play football, NFL player, and that was mine too. I wasn't no different, but for some reason, I've always had this mindset of not looking too far ahead, and maybe this can help out with the youth now today. It's okay to have goals and write goals down because you need that. That's not what I'm focusing on. But after you write that down, or after you have that big goal that you want to be in the NFL, you want to make this money, you want to provide for your family, you want to do all these great things. You got to live in the now. You got to conquer where you at, and that's something. And maybe it was Christ God, shining light on me. But I've always had that mindset of, hey, not looking too far ahead because there are a lot of people say, hey, man, even junior high and really high school is when I really got the status. But in high school, I was like, man, you can make it here, you can make it there, and I'm kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Like, I need to be the best person on my high school football team right now. I need to figure that out first and conquer that moment. And each time I did that, even when I got to college, to the Longhorns. And a lot of people say, "Man, you got a chance to go to the league. You keep doing this." I'm like, "Oh, hold on, I just got here. Like, I got 3 more years left of college football and this college experience." So I've always had this knack of saying, let me conquer where I'm at, and then of course, when I got junior and senior, I'm like, okay, this is about to happen. I'm projected to be first round pick and all this stuff. So all this stuff is coming to play. But then you can look back and say, man, not looking too far ahead actually really helped me along the lines. And being a first round pick, you get that big payday, right? You get that big payday, and being a 15th pick in the first round to the Kansas City Chiefs, signing that $13 million deal, was $13 million, 10 guaranteed type of deal. So I'm like, man, I'm signing this. My mom's there, everybody's there, and it's just it's one of those humbling. For me, if you know me, and my wife, she hates this at time. I never get too high, and I never get too low. Now I enjoy the moments. Don't get me wrong, but there's some pros and cons with that. A lot more pros, because when something bad happens or something's that's tough or adversity hits, you
Yep.
know here I'm trying to see how to get better, how to overcome it, instead of being wiped out and on the floor and giving up type of vibe. But it always helps me when something good happens, like signing that multi-million-dollar deal. I'm in a humble state now. I'm like, man, this is cool. I'm enjoying it, but I'm looking to hopefully do better. But it was a dream come true, man. NFL is, I still say this to this day, it's a dream job. It wasn't really a job, I was freaking playing football and knocking people heads off for getting paid for it. I'm like, this is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Indeed. I'll give you that. I know Tony was doing, we were watching some highlight videos of you too. We were just watching you smoked the Raiders
Jalen
running back,
Richard
and the man's was just sitting there
Yeah.
in his pink
like
shoes, just laid out
Oh
yeah.
man,
like a freight train ran over him.
always stick out to me, man. I got a few more of those. I got a few more of those. Yeah.
We'll get
Little
to those
stingers.
definitely. I really appreciate your statement in regards to staying in the moment, really building that foundation. I'm curious because you quoted a scripture earlier, and interpreted as it's better to be patient than powerful. So I'm curious if that is that a result of the lessons you learned by staying focused on the here and now then, or were you focused on the here and the now and then because you already understood that scripture, if that makes sense?
You
Or is
know
that
what?
something that's evolved for you?
Yeah, it has evolved. Man, life is not fair, right? Things happen to different people, and it's all about your mindset. Like, it's all about the mindset. I'm always known that, or what I've learned to know that it's okay to lose. It's okay to have difficult times, because during those losses, you really win. And if you have the right perspective, now you got to have the right perspective. You can't just say this phrase saying, "Oh, um, winning." Whenever you lose, you really win. You got to have a type of mindset. When you lose, it's even though you're taking that L, it's more about taking that a lesson. That it's a different kind of L, right?
Right.
It's a lesson learned. And when I look back over my life, I'm like, man, especially in football. Football for me, it teaches me a lot about life. It teaches me a lot about life, a lot about getting knocked down, getting back up, still having your confidence. I'm telling you, I tell people this all the time. Football players are, I don't want to, cross the line, but we're a little bit crazy. It's a little bit, something a little bit off, but in a good way, because um, there are times where I get wiped out, where a lineman throws me on the ground, or somebody jukes me, or Marshawn Lynch runs me over, or something like that. And you got to get back up and say, with more confidence, saying, oh no, I'm gonna get you on this play. Watch this. I have more confidence, which I think is unbelievable. And a lot of players have this, but but that goes into life, right? And and knowing that when you go through adversity, you go through difficult times, when something doesn't favor you and you kind of fight through it, man, it really has great benefits at the end of the day. It really has great benefits. So
Right.
it's something I've learned over the years.
What's if you could, because I believe I've heard you speak on this at church. Talk about that year, that difficult year that you had, and really just kind of and I mean it's like the perfect kind of segue from what you're just talking about, and the mindset that you had during that year when basically homie, stepped up, and then it's like, whoa, what happened, and I love that story. I think there's a lot of power to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I was at the Chiefs, being a first round pick, my fifth year in the league, all the coaches got fired and all the a whole new regime came in, and none of these coaches really knew me like that. But I'm a first round pick, so this is a big deal for them to say, "Hey, you know, we're gonna bench you," and I'm like, I'm like, what? Like, it's nobody, better that's on. It's different if you had somebody where it's like, hey, this guy's better. But we had the same guys. It's nobody new has come in. So I'm like, man, that was that for me, that was tough. Certain people, they may have went through it earlier. For me, being in my fifth year in the league, being a first round pick, being benched, that's like, okay, this is different. And media and adding all those elements, what's wrong with DJ? Like, why DJ isn't playing? And it wasn't that good of a team that year. But for that year, I tell you, man, I've I really needed it. Sometimes things happen where you don't understand, and God allows certain things to happen. You like, this don't make sense, but you know what? Uh, um, um, I've I've grown and grew up to handle these situations. I've been, my mom instilled a lot of great values in me. I'm faith based. So this is where you need to all those elements that you've learned, or those advice, those wisdom moments. You need to apply those. So I did, and I tell you what. When you talk about pressing in, getting into my Bible more, praying more, having a stronger mindset, it really paid off for me because I had to sit through that not just a couple games, the whole year, and the media makes it worse, right? They're like, I'm in NFL, so everybody's trying to get me to say something because I could go off and get myself out of Kansas City. I can say, man, they messing me over, man. They doing this and that. Let me, because it was valid at that time, especially the way I was thinking about it. But you know what? I didn't lash out. I kept getting better. It's all about in my head. It's all about getting better. When
Yeah.
you win, however, just get better. And I got better through that process. When you talk about being easily motivated, being more of a consistent player, I that's what happened throughout that year. And I tell you what, man, the following year. Now I didn't start the whole year. The whole year, like played 20% of the downs. Didn't start the whole year. The next year, by game 8, literally by game 8, I signed a $35 million deal. By game 8.
Come on.
So that tells you that when you can push through something that doesn't favor you, it has great benefits. And man, I've and and all the Pro Bowls you mentioned that earlier, 4 Pro Bowls, I'm all-time leading tackle in Chiefs history, and all that stuff. Uh, um, that all that came. I had 2 All-Pro seasons. All that came after year 5. So
Wow.
that's after I was tested, after the adversity. So if you can, it when adversity hits, it's not time to, and this is for anybody. It's not time to give up. It's not time to lay down. It's time to go. Like this is when you go through troubles or difficult times. It's actually more of an opportunity now. So now it's opportunity. Now it's like, what you gonna do?
Yep. Yep. We just had a guest on last week, and something he said, it's from I believe it's from Rich Dad Poor Dad, I believe, but it's, defeat is often the seed of an opportunity. And
Mm.
I love that you said that, because like, dude, after year 5, like, and that's, and I'll take this back to insurance. Anybody listening to this, guys, like what you're hearing it's us, is that we go through adversity. People, They don't want to do telesales. They don't want to go virtual when COVID hit. There's all these different things that have happened really within the past 2 to 3 years where I have seen more agents getting out of the business than in. Right.
Mhm.
And I think it's because they go through some adversity and then, right. It's like the story of that miner, right? Where it's like, man, he gave up right before he was about to strike gold. The man's got benched for a whole season who had never, I mean, dude, you probably started and played every single game of
Yeah.
every single football game you'd ever played
Yep.
to get benched a whole I mean, and then come back and guess what? By game 8, and all it took, and I swear it probably felt long then, but guys, a year and a half, I mean, you blink and a year and a half's gone, and guess what? A year and a half later, Derek signing the biggest deal that he had ever signed, right? After going through that defeat, that adversity. So if you hear anything out of that, y'all, like, keep going, keep pushing through, because you're right. Hey, you're that close to your $35 million deal. Maybe not that size yet, but hey, you'll get there. Just keep pushing through, man. Wow, that's so
Shoot, man.
good, dude.
I can sit on the bench anytime. Where's my check?
Merwin's like, I'll help.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being the caliber of player that you are and sitting on that bench, because I know me, I would really struggle with that. No, like watching the plays happen in front of me, knowing in my brain that if I were on the field, it would have gone differently, right? The play would have gone differently. I would have gotten that tackle, or I would have seen the audible and be able to rearrange my defense or whatever it might be. Like I would struggle with that, and for you to have that kind of patience to ride that out, obviously respectfully with character, that's why you
Yeah.
got awarded what you got awarded later,
Yeah. Well, Tony,
or a big part of it.
right, I had problems. I did have problems with. So it wasn't perfect, but I'm telling you the um, the big scheme of things of how it worked out. But yeah, there are times where I'm looking like, man, like. But again, we talk about that verse, which is crazy how that verse. I just read that verse last week. It's better to be patient and powerful, because there's actually power in your patience. So
Hmm.
being able to sit and to fester in this, like, wow, it built something up in me, like, okay, maybe not that I should have got benched, but maybe some things need to change in my game, right? I'm always a person of you always it's never good to always point the finger at everybody else. It's just, if we can point it at ourselves and be accountable for ourselves, you can get better. It's easier said than done, obviously, especially in that situation where nobody's around me on that, because we had the same linebacking core from the year before to now, and you're telling me these, and the other guys are looking at even the linebackers was like, okay, like this is all right. But it's more about me having that patience during that time and going through that year. That year 5, that was a growing year. Even though people might say, "Man, you losing that year." You had your lowest tackles that year. You didn't the lowest production. Not really. I was winning that year. I was getting better. I was getting better.
That's good. That's good, man. I love that. That's so powerful. And so I want to kind of fast track just a little bit, and I want to talk about even coming up to your maybe your last years in the NFL, and this kind of is maybe shifting towards we'll call it maybe preparation for your exit.
Mhm,
And I kind of want to know, like, okay, so hey, as you were nearing, I think you said 14 years, I think you
yeah,
said,
mhm,
correct? And then last year was with Oakland, if I remember correctly. So
yes.
as you're going into those, maybe even say last year or two, did you feel the exit coming on? Like, were you already prepping to kind of make that retirement move? And what maybe went into that? Was there, again, maybe even go back to adversity? That's got to be tough. You've been playing over a decade, right? And to say, man, I might be hanging up the cleats, and just kind of take us through that, and then maybe let's pivot into what you're up to now, and what that's looked like for the past couple years.
Yeah, great question. That's they always say in the NFL, it always football always ends before you want it to. It's just they always say it, regardless if you play 20 years, it always ends before you want it to, or quicker than you wanted it to. And I played for 14 years, so I'm not not regretting anything. But there were times, especially year 12 or year more like year 12, I was like, believe it or not, that's when I first was like, ooh, I'm a step slower, just not telling the coaches, not telling everybody else, but in my mind,
Yeah.
man, I can make that play. Like I'm looking at film, like go faster, run, like the lineman is right there, and you're not putting your head into him. You're thinking about it. And in football, what helped me out and helped me be successful is being reckless, and there is a control manner at times, but mentally I was really good, but a lot of times I was reckless in a good way, throwing my body in there, making decisions like that. And then when I got to year 12, 13, really, it was like, oh, I would think about it like, oh, that may hurt. Don't. It was like, oh, when I watch film, I'm like, I'm getting mad at myself. What are you doing? Go in there, kill him. But that was my body saying, oh, I don't know about this. So, but to play 13 years at Kansas City, and then I didn't get cut at Kansas City. I did. They just new management and new GM that came in, because I was with Andy Reid for 5 years, and new GM came in, Mike Beach, Britt Veach, sorry. He just didn't want to sign. He didn't want to sign me back. He was like, okay, your contract's ended. Um, you know, Very respectful, all that. So I got great respect for Kansas City. And then John Gruden hit me up, and he was all he loves veteran players, and he wanted to get some guys together for his first year at the Raiders, even though that was foreign territory for me, because Raiders and Chiefs are like Brees. But a lot of people ask me, like, why'd you go to the Raiders? Like, the Raiders are, I'm like, you know what? At that time, I still want to play. I still wanted to play ball. And I felt like I can help in a way. I didn't feel like I can start and play every play, that for sure. But I felt like I could still do some things. And we didn't have a good team at the Raiders 2018. And yeah, and mentally, I was almost like, man, it gave me more peace after leaving the Raiders, because I wasn't making the plays I used to make. So, and I couldn't do it. So it was like, I'm actually have more peace. Like, okay, I know I can't do it. I know I can't perform it. I'm not a C- player. I'm a A- player, A+ player. And when I'm not there, it's mentally I need to get out. So
Did you go over to the Raiders maybe more for the opportunity to work with Gruden?
A little bit of both. Gruden's always he said it was a little selfish of him, but he said he's always wanted to work with me, because he's been broadcasting that whole time while I was in
Uh,
KC. He's like, man, you know what? I've seen you play a whole bunch. I'm selfishly, I want to be able to coach you, and I want you to come over and try to help. So I did that. I didn't help much, but but I have peace by it. It's a lot of people, man. I mean, more than not, a lot of people get out of NFL and are bitter. And it really, in professional sports, they get out, they get hurt, or they something happens, they get cut short. It's a lot of people are bitter, and they go through that depression of the league pushing them out. It happens all the time. This is regular, and they have stories, and they have time to get over that. But I've been fortunate enough not to be on that side of it. I got hurt real quick to um, before I tell you what I'm doing now. I got hurt year 10 and year 12. I popped my Achilles, my left Achilles, um, in year 10, and in year 12 I popped my right Achilles. So that tells you I was starting to go downhill. But it's crazy. Year 10, when I popped my Achilles, I made the Pro Bowl the next year. So I was still playing at a high level. So it wasn't that. So, but year 13 really was like, all right, you're getting older. All right, we're gonna take some plays from you. Get some young players in here. Let's switch you in and out. But yeah,
it's good. That's good, man. And then so now, obviously, you pivoted out. How old are you, by the way?
I'm 39. 39.
39. Come on.
I'm 39 for the next 30 years.
Let's go. Let's go. So then, so you've made that exit, and I mean, that's been very recent, right? I mean, shoot,
3 years.
that had to have been like right after that is like probably close to when I met you at Summit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, yeah, very close to that. So then we also we've got some other people at Summit that have probably that have recently or maybe in the past gone through the exit of the league as well and everything like that, which has been pretty cool to see. I love like everybody's so freaking humble, and I'm like, well, so what'd you do? And he's like, oh, I was in the league, and I'm like just subtle drop that we're sitting outside the sanctuary, and I'm like, what do you mean the league? Like, what league? He's like, oh, the NFL. I'm like, bro, what? Like, you just gonna just low key drop that? Like, yeah, just figuring out what I want to do after the league. That was Levi. Um, so now that we've made the exit, right, and you're doing you, and obviously, and actually, I don't know if I 100% know everything kind of you got cooking. Again,
Yeah.
I know it's still pretty recent.
Mhm.
What all you doing now?
Yeah. Oh well, being a philanthropist now, just giving back. That's my passion. It's kind of extension of me growing up in a household with a school teacher. I say a school teacher from a mom, giving back to inner city kids through education. So I have a foundation called Defend the Dream, which caters to inner city kids education. And what we do is we do library makeovers at in in inner city schools, Title One elementary schools that really need help.
Yeah,
And you talk about the library being the heart of their school and being able to go in there. And I did this in Kansas City. I did 15, 16 in Kansas City. These are 30, 40, $50,000 projects, by the way. And we go into school. I mean, we repaint everything, put fat heads up, and we doll it up. And that's the inexpensive part. But the expensive part is getting the age appropriate books for the kids. So and the reason we're doing this is to raise their reading levels. And there's a stat out there: if inner city kids, we're talking kids that are in underprivileged kid area, underprivileged communities, if they're in before they leave elementary school, if their grade level is not above or right at grade level reading, it's a 50% chance that they won't finish high school.
mm,
So that's why we're going elementary to get more books
up
in there.
front.
Not
Yep.
just do more books, but to doll the place up, liven it up, just so. And man, I got so many testimonies and so many administrative teachers and principals calling back from KC saying, "Man, this kid never wanted to be in the library. Now they want to go there because my stuff is up there. Like I dolled it out, and to have books and stuff there, man, it's awesome. It's awesome.
That's awesome, dude. I love that. And I think that's where we originally connected anyways. You know my heart for the youth. And I love that. And, even outside of that, like for when I was coaching, like I always coached youth because you got to start them there, right? Like sometimes you catch it when it's too late. And you just said the stat, right? Where it's like, man, if they're and especially in an underserved community, things like that, right? To where it's like, man, it sometimes it's not even that maybe they don't want to, it's because they just can't. They don't have access to that material. They don't have, the financial ability to pay for that, whatever it is. Oh, and then this is a good buddy of mine. He's out of Springfield, Missouri. He said, this is sick. DJ is one of my all-time favorite Chiefs. So
Um, awesome, and I appreciate it. I
yeah,
appreciate.
Dylan is he's a beast, dude. He does all the videography,
Behind the
freaking
camera.
photos, everything for a good friend of ours. Yeah. Um, no, but yeah, dude, I think that's so important and we're even seeing it within our industry now. We are, and obviously, and I'm kind of part of it. I'm about to be 30. I know I'm still young, but still it's like we're starting to see a wave, like where we're wanting to get more youth, more young insurance professionals into the industry, right? To be able to like, hey, don't go like spend years in the corporate world, right? To ultimately like leave it all behind and then you got nothing to show for it. And then now so like we're really trying to start at I guess at a younger level, at a lower level to make an impact there. So I'm all about that. I love your heart for the youth and everything you're doing there.
I appreciate it, Joe. I really do.
Outside of the library stuff, do you do any like speaking events with kids or anything like that where you just kind of go around and use your kind of status to raise charity or raise awareness?
I do at times. I do. I'm always getting asked to go to a high school or elementary school or high school and go speak and just mentor, being able and usually these are the a few things that I talk about, especially grades. You can't do anything if you don't. Education is not important to you, so you got to make the grades, A's and B's, and then your attitude. Got to have a good attitude. Getting in trouble is the older you get, the less people will deal with your attitude. So I make sure that the kids know that getting in trouble is not cool. That's being a class clown. That's when the older you get, that's they're gonna push you out. That's just what it is. And being able to have a good character, having a good character, being a good person really matters. Character means when what you do when no one's looking. At the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, who you really
Or
are, and being able to have that grit, that hard work in you. I've always said hard work pays off. I'm a big believer of that. My kids they almost hate it now. I'm always like, I tell them hard work, and they say pays off. I'm like, they're like pays off, Dad. but I
so
mean, it's pretty cool to mentor other people's kids because sometimes I understand a lot of times I understand the influence that I have because of the platform, which is cool. I got to use it the best of my abilities, but I'm also I got to do it at home too. Around my kids, working them out, being able to a healthy balance of academics and sports. So it's just I'm busy. I'm busy.
He goes,
with six
to put
kids,
it
I bet you
simply,
are
I'm
busy.
busy. Yep.
Very, very. But I enjoy it. I really do. I love kids, so it's not a burden. It's just when I lay down at night, I'm like, oh.
Right. Well, if we got, I know.
Real quick, if I did have my choice, or ideally, I would love to coach. So I'm not. Obviously, I have that going on. I'm not committed to that time to coach, but I love to pour into kids because I'm mentally football is always in me, so I watch it all the time.
It's good. That's
I'm
good,
sure there's
man. I love it.
plenty of high schools and colleges that would love to have you on this coaching squad, man.
Right.
That
For
should
real.
not be a hard dream to fill right there. I mean, shoot, even if it's
um,
just Pop Warner, at least it's something. I don't know. You get to get out there and pour into them.
Real quick, Tony, I know, Derek, I know you got another call you got to bounce to here shortly. Just a couple more minutes here. Tony, you got anything, maybe last question we want to add? I
I
know
got a
you probably got a
lot. I
whole
guess we're
list,
gonna have
but
to run another episode at some point. Because one of the things that he said was hard work. Like there's so many directions I've got on this pad that I've been writing down, but you said hard work, so I'm just going to ask you a hard question. How hard did you work?
Hmm.
And
But you know what? And a lot of people don't see it. They see the result of it. They see the fame of it,
right,
the awards, the accolades. Man, it's freaking hard work, and it's I don't I want to express it the best way, but it's hard freaking work, and I'm talking about the times where you think about man, should I have picked this? Like that's how hard, where your legs are hurting. I'm talking about the training part of it. Your chest is hurting, and you're like, man, it's really when you're working out and you're getting better through my football days, it really didn't count for me until I got tired, because we can work out and do stuff, and then when we're tired, we're like, all right, good, we're cool. Like, no, all right, now the reps start counting. All right, how hard do you work now? Are you thinking? Certain things like that. And I tell you what, man, I built up a callus that that's sometimes really hard. Sometimes I gotta scale back and be more understanding, especially with my kids and wife and stuff like that. But there's more pros to the things that I built up through working hard. Hard work, man. It's just like I said, football teaches you a lot about life, and I'm using all that stuff that I've
good.
learned. Oh, I'm using it now.
did
It's good.
you had mentioned earlier Dwight Johnson just kind of laid out a blueprint for you? Did he instill that work ethic in you and kind of show you that you're going to have to work your tail off while you're going through football? Or was there leaders on the Chiefs team, like during practice, that you kind of followed and kind of chased after, so to speak?
You know what? I was one of those leaders, so I kind of had it, when I got to the Chiefs. But I tell you what, I didn't know it all, but I had that work ethic. My brother for sure, because my brother's route is a lot different from mine. He went to Baylor and lost a lot of games. I saw all of them. I saw all of them. He was a pretty good player, but the teams wasn't as good when he was on them. And I tell you what, him going to the NFL, not getting drafted, being a rookie free agent, and working his tail off, being a student athlete in Baylor, and I've seen my brother go through a lot and to still make it. I mean, he played 5 years in the league, so if just saying that without even telling his story on how he got there. Um, um, it's unbelievable. It kind of helped me out being mine's just on a whole nother spectrum on being a first round pick and all the eyes on me all the time.
Mm.
Uh, I, I learned a lot from my brother. I learned a lot from my brother, and
And
I
well,
at that
and
time because
I think you say that, man, like that's where leaders are made when people, like you said, I was that guy. That's where leaders are made when all eyes are on you. Hey, you like, are you showing up? Right? Are you like, because everybody else is looking to you because like, well, if DJ's doing it, then we got to do it, right? And
yes,
that's, I love that you said that because that's you're like you're the fuel to the fire, man. And
that's so
that's,
true, man. That is
that's a
so
lot of
true.
responsibility.
Yeah. I felt all those eyes at times. It's a big, honestly, and I appreciate it now. I don't have, I still have pressure, but that kind of pressure is, oh man, it gets you like, ooh, it gets you a little nervous because it's a lot of pressure, man. NFL is pressure, and you got to be able to perform under pressure. I look back and say, wow, I did it, but wow, that's something where I'm like, oh, thank you for helping me to do that. But when you get paid and you get those accolades and Pro Bowls, that's not the time to sit back and kick your feet up. People are like, "Hey, we paid you this money, or you going to you're in a Pro Bowl. You're supposed to be better. You're supposed to be so there's a certain level and standard even after you get paid that you have to perform."
Love it,
You
man.
talked about pressure. What's the highest pressure moment that you remember in a game where you
Mhm.
came through on the other side successful? Like certain hit, certain tackle, certain turnover, whatever it might be.
You know what? I got when you ask that question, I got so much stuff running through my head
I'm
right now.
sure.
But I tell you what, just in general, just just being in a fourth quarter in a close game, that's pressure. I mean, that's really pressure because everybody's watching. I mean, you got 100,000 people in the stands yelling, and I mean, it's chaos going all around you. I have the green dot, meaning I'm calling the plays on the defense side of the ball. I'm hulling everybody. Hey, we got to do this. Boom, boom. I'm getting everybody set. And I tell you what, that's pressure. That's a lot of pressure because there's certain times where there's one-on-one opportunity, tackles that you have to make, balls in the air, one-on-one pass coverage against someone, Darren Sproles, Shady McCoy, and all these guys. You got Michael Vick on the other side, Tom Brady. I mean, they're checking plays and Peyton Manning. I mean, it's a lot going on, and and there's no excuses. You got to perform. You
Hmm.
make the play, and if you don't, it's some. I've always known this that uh, the GM and owners and everybody, they're doing stuff up there that nobody knows. They're getting people, they say, oh, that guy losing the step or that guy's not good. Let me get some. They're always working, always working. But again, you can control. I've always believed this. You got to control what you can control. And when I had that mindset, it helped me to just focus in and handle my business.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say pressure would be just looking at like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning in the eyes and being like, "Oh crap, dude." Peyton Manning's over here calling 25 audibles before he even hikes the freaking ball, man. Like that's some pressure, dude.
Right.
Man,
Who
that's
was
good.
Is there any one competitor during your time that sticks out to you as like the toughest guy that you had to chase down, once a year or whatever it might be? Was there someone that was just like, man, this guy
Yeah,
again?
yeah, I would have to say um, probably Marshawn Lynch. He's just far as a run back when it comes to just the physicality of him, and he's more athletic than you think. So he's not a bowling ball or anything, but it feels like a bowling ball when you hit him. But he has a little jukeness to him. I mean, he can do it all. Like I really have him really high on my list. But especially when it comes to like quarterbacks and stuff, you Tom Brady. I mean, it's hard to get. It's hard to
The
beat.
GOAT.
Just it's just I mean he's so smart. That's why he's gonna be playing forever because you can't touch him. He's so smart. If something messes up, he'll get down, he'll just take that loss or that sack real quick. Next play, he's gonna boom, he's gonna go deep. I mean, he's so smart, man. But being a quarterback, I mean, my hat's off to him, man. He's done it so long. He's done it before me, he's done it during my time, and he's doing it after
And
me.
he's still doing it after you. No kidding, man. Guys, now
Yeah.
do you have a favorite tackle? Just like a favorite moment that you're just always like, yeah, I got him that
Yeah,
day.
it's probably two or three of them against the Raiders usually because we play the Raiders twice a year. So,
Right.
and I've had some. Don't get me wrong. I've had some good plays if I were to really dissect them. But what sticks out about a hard hit? One of them was on Marshawn Lynch, and the other one's on the number 30 from. Dang, I forgot his name. Y'all were talking about him earlier.
Jalen Richard?
Rashard, yeah, Rashard, yeah. So, but yeah, I caught Marshawn Lynch slipping one time. Derek Carr threw the ball up in the air on a swing pass, and I'm coming. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to get a boom. I hit him on my highlight film and stuff, but he gets up and he's smiling at me like, good hit, man, good hit with the gold teeth. Like, golly, he's supposed to be still on the ground. Like God did.
That's good, man. Well, that's good. Well, hey,
Awesome.
man, I know you got to bounce because you got another call, dude. Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure, dude. Definitely got to be our best episode that we've ever had. We've been running this for months now, and so I'm super excited to get you out onto the podcast and everything like that. But seriously, thank you. I love your story. I know that it was impacting, people who were watching this. Guys, if you're catching the replay, watch through this whole freaking. Well, if you're seeing me talk now, you already watched through the whole thing. But make sure, I mean, guys, this was amazing, dude. Thank you so much.
Gold. Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank you so much for coming on. I do have one final question. Just curious, who's going to win the Super Bowl this next year?
Oh man,
Who's your pick? If you
I
had to
believe,
throw a pick down, come on now. You got more knowledge than all of us.
well, I'm biased. I believe red, right? It just, cheap. But I think at the end of the day, the Chiefs will be in the mix. It's hard to say. Golly, that's a hard question, man. I tell you what, if Tom Brady's anywhere, if he's playing, he'll probably be in the mix too. But it all comes down to after the last round of the playoffs. At the end of the day, the AFC Championship, whoever's in that, the Chiefs going to be in the AFC Championship. What I think. And I know Tampa Bay is probably going to be in the NFC Championship. So I don't know all the stuff yet, but I definitely biased.
Go
Naturally.
Chiefs.
Well,
Go
man,
Yeah.
thank
Chiefs.
you again for coming out. This has been a huge privilege, huge pleasure for us. We'll
Yep.
probably definitely have you on again at some point if you'll let us, because I've got a whole more list of questions and avenues I'd love to chat with you about. So it's been an honor. Thank you again, man. Guys out there, thank y'all. Certainly, if you see him out there doing any of his library work, pitch in, help him out. Is there a way that you said that was called Defend the Dream? Is there
Yeah,
any
yeah,
other information you can tell us on maybe how we can contribute to it or anything
yeah,
like that?
yeah. DerrickJohnsonFoundation.org.
Okay, perfect.
DerrickJohnsonFoundation.org.
Sweet.
There
Okay.
you have it.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, hey,
And that is
syndicate
winning on
members.
Wednesday, guys.
It's Wednesday. We still got the rest of the week, baby. Go kill it. We appreciate y'all. Have a good one, y'all. Later.
All right.
Insurance syndicate, make sure you